I think we've seen history multiple times here the last 2 days.
It's unbelievable, and it's unbelievable that we're doing it not just at the largest levels of business and technical implementation, but we're doing it at the smallest levels. We're going all the way down to the chip. This afternoon, we're talking to guys that are working literally in implementation, SHA-256 implementations at the chip level, and finding optimizations. So we're talking about something way smaller than ETFs, way smaller than MSTR, way smaller than public money.
Thank goodness. Look.
It's over my head, too.
I've had a headache every night I've gone to bed. Just information overload all day long. You just all these new ideas and everything. And obviously, I'm not new to the space, but the innovation's happening so fast that there's just so much to take in.
Here's why I want us to jump in, and I want you guys to introduce yourself for those of you who don't know you. But I want you to jump in on that exact point. I want you to tell us, we're talking about Citadel mining. So we're talking about the very smallest deployments, but not the least important deployments. Can you introduce yourself? Round of applause for John as he comes up to the stage. He gets his walk up. Come on down.
Whew. Sorry, guys.
Welcome.
There you go.
We were just in the big schedule, or the big side of things. Now we're going to the small side of things. So I'd love to run through and to introduce who you are, and express to us why is this Citadel mining thing? Why is this smaller scale mining important? Why is it even relevant? Can we just let the big boys do the mining for us? So take it away. I'll hand it off to you. No, I'm gonna let you catch your breath. Let's start with Schnitzel.
All right. Hey, my name is Michael. People know me under the name Schnitzel. I do home heating. I started with really small, just a garage. Then I had an Airstream trailer. Then found immersion, went to water, and now today I heat the whole house, the water and the hot tub, and even have a mobile hot tub that you see all out there. Why is it important? Well, I have a military background, and I know how fast and easy it is to capture something physically that is centralized in one place. And so if we have these big miners, which secure the network, it's all great. But I believe there will be a military target at one point. And there will be a time where states or countries will try to kill each other's hash rate with sending missiles or whatever. And we need to make sure that, I think this is going to happen, we need to secure the network more. And the only way to do this is if we make sure that every house in the world has a little Bitcoin miner that can secure the hash rate if something bad happens. And because they cannot send missiles to every house in the world. And that's the only way to do it.
Yeah, I totally agree. The decentralization of actual hash rate production, I mean, a swarm of individual miners all around the world will have a far bigger effect than what any one company or business can concentrate in one area. I'm Ronan Miner, Neil, and I started just home mining, and now I'm essentially a mercenary that goes around to various size deployments and tries to figure out what's wrong with them and how to optimize them. And you, sir?
I think we saw the power of decentralization 2 nights ago, right? Someone just mined a solo block in a little device in a little event in Nashville, Tennessee. So,
what kind of device? Tell us about that device.
Yeah, so what we've built and how we made this so accessible to as many people as possible is we've integrated essentially the full Bitcoin ecosystem in a single small ARM controller. So it includes the full node and a solo stratum pool that is spun up within 5 minutes. So literally anybody here, most of the people here are running large mines. There's been barrier to entries for people like you guys to solo mine because they think that infrastructure needs to be built out and it involves a lot of complex things. And we just proved 2 nights ago that that's not the case. Anybody can spin up a solo stratum pool and start mining their operation to a node and solo mine in 5 minutes. And that's kind of like the mission and what we're doing. And we're taking it to the next level.
First off, congrats to, everyone.
Yeah, congrats to this
Congrats
guy
to the
right
blockchain,
here.
congrats to decentralization, congrats to the 256 Foundation. You know, there's so many directions to go because the innovations have been insane. When you see a large miner and they announce something, you go, oh, Bitmain has announced a new chip, and everybody goes and claps and they put their pre-orders in. But innovation in this space is not like that at all. It's almost like you're scrolling Twitter and you just see the most bizarre technical thing you've ever seen in your entire life, and then a bunch of Anons, Happy Panda 24 going, I worked on the engineering for 17 minutes on this, and I spit out this thing that has 14 chips, and it operates. You're speaking Greek and Dutch and reverse hieroglyphics. What does innovation look like in this space? And how is it different from what's happening from a large publicly traded company, somebody who has a PR firm that's doing all their communications?
I can tell you how it looks for me. It's cut up hands and pans full of oil. So it's not giving up. It's learning, not being afraid, and just trying new things, breaking stuff along the way. I probably killed at least 12 hash boards in my life. But yeah, you just don't give up. You just think, what else? The path is the goal, like the learning on it. And I think the important part is don't just learn, because that's the fun part, but also share as much as possible. That's why, for example, I'm trying to do as much as possible open source, show the failures, show the schemas, the parts lists, everything. And I think that's the important part, that we really need to share more of what we learned. And that's actually one of the things that I think is very sad about the big miners is they don't do that. Like, there's no sharing. All these big companies, they build awesome software systems and things like that. And we have to build all of this from scratch again. And I think it would be really good if we overall have a much more sharing culture also with the big miners.
And it's really expensive to learn the way we learn. I mean, I could have afforded a very nice Ivy League degree with the amount of money that I've spent on just learning how to do it myself with all the different mining applications and projects that have either failed, immediately been obsoleted, or started on fire.
Now, John, what's your opinion too? Which is interesting because you built a company around a unique technology. So I wonder, what do you share and what's different in your perspective?
Yeah, I think the true innovation in the next few years is going to be making all of this as accessible as possible to millions of people. I mean, I think that's what will truly accelerate this space. It's giving this powerful technology that's at the base layer of Bitcoin to the masses. And that's where things will really intersect and be interesting. And we're starting on that path at FutureBit. What these guys are doing at 256 is the next step towards that. It's going to open the ecosystem to hundreds, if not thousands, of entrepreneurs to build cool products around this heating space. And yeah, it's just the innovation is making that tech accessible. Like I said, spinning up a solo pool in 5 minutes. Anybody can do it. And taking concepts like that to every part of Bitcoin mining and development and UI and all of that.
You know, it's an interesting space. Hearing you talk and hearing about the passion, hearing about the innovation, it makes me feel like we're living through almost a cypherpunk 2.0 moment. But instead of people who write code, well, you guys write code, you're the big brains, who write strictly code, it's folks who know how to tinker, folks who know how to 3D print. It's engineers. It's folks who know how to put together systems. Do you have an inkling, because you guys have been in the space for a while, and we've addressed, at least with the 256 Foundation, some of these issues of, you need access to the chips, you need the open source materials, and it's felt like that's maybe kept the handbrake on of somebody being able to commercialize something, to just get it out there and just launch the product to the masses. Having been in this for a while, do you have an inkling of what that is? What do you see in the next year, in the next 2 years, that gives people the accessibility? Is it that I want to run a node and I want to bank at home? Is it that I want a floor-style heater? Is it that I need a water heater? Do you think there's a killer product, or do you think there's something else happening there?
I was very convinced that the What's Miner outside, that's basically going to be the new home water heater, I was convinced that that was just going to blow up immediately. Like, I thought I had my hands on the golden goose, and people were going to be tripping over themselves to get their hands on it. But it seems that the majority of even Bitcoiners aren't as interested in it as I thought. I don't know if it's early, or maybe I was just mistaken on the use cases, but I mean, everybody uses heat, everybody uses heated water, and it's essential to just regular life. And now why not get that rebate check denominated in Bitcoin every month for your electric bill? Your electric heater is going to cost the same regardless of whether it's generating Bitcoin or not. So we'll see.
I think it's just technology in general. Like, if I look back, I have a specific memory when I had the first time access to the internet, and we literally took like a regular phone and you plugged it into like your computer. Like, it was not made. I feel very much the same if I put an air immersion mine, like an air miner, and put it in the immersion. I feel like taking the telephone handle and put it into the foam to connect to the internet. Like, I think that's where we are. But even there, like, people had for years to come, they still had their landline phone, even though the smartphones were everywhere. Like, it made more sense that why do you still have a landline phone? And I think that's just, it takes a long time. So that's like what you're saying. Like, the innovation is there and people could use it. But honestly, people are also lazy. People are also like, and maybe that has to do with fiat and the whole world of like, people are worried that's going on, and maybe that's connected to it. But I think us that sit in it and look outside, we're like, what the hell? Like, why don't you get this? The people outside, they don't look inside. They don't even know that we exist. So I think what we need to make sure is that we work on it. We don't let the fact that people don't get it immediately let us drag down, and just keep on building. But eventually, like with the internet, everybody will have it all the time, or you actually don't even realize anymore that you use it all the time. And that's what's going to happen with Bitcoin mining. I don't know how fast it's going to happen. I think it's going to take slower than we all think it's going to be, but it is going to happen. Like, I don't see any other way that it could not happen.
I think you have to take away the laziness factor out of it. Like, people don't have any problem hooking their home appliances into the internet anymore. So why wouldn't they hook their water heater into the internet as well? And they don't even have to know it's mining Bitcoin. They just receive a rebate check, right. Even if it's a dollar-denominated rebate check. That's all they see, and who wouldn't want their water heater paying part of the electric bill?
Yeah, I think you touched on the point that it's important. The masses, no matter how much we think and we want to be involved in Bitcoin, they will never be involved in the base layer, no matter how much you want them to be involved. It's not a technical possibility to get billions of people on the base layer, and like you said, it's like people just want something that works. And I think an aspect that we're playing around with is the lottery aspect to get the masses into Bitcoin mining. I was very against that early on. I hated the concept. It sounds grifty. Even with what happened 2 days ago, like my Twitter thread blew up and people are discussing the same things. It's like, I get it, but people gamble no matter what. And that's a concept that people understand. And if we can get that aspect to the masses in terms of low power devices that cost $10 a month to run, and people understand I have 1 in 500,000 chance of mining a block, that's a cool way to incentivize people without needing to know anything. They just plug it in, put in a wallet address, and boom, you're solo mining. And once we get that out to 1 million people, there's going to be 1 block a day being mined this way. And that's, I think, the catalyst that will bring a lot more people in this ecosystem.
That's a fantastic point that you make. Ronan, Schnitzel, are you okay with that? Are you okay if Bitcoin becomes ubiquitous and we use it, but we use it in the veil of another system? Or if we don't understand it at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, internet was popularized by pornography. Sure.
Not familiar.
If that's what it takes, is that people just don't have to know or care that it's going on, and then one day it's undeniable, that's fine.
Yeah, I think give people what they want. Give people what they understand. Like, do you know what the most searched term is on Google.com?
We just went over that.
Oh, you did. What is it?
I would assume porn.
No, Google. The most searched term on Google is Google. That's how much people understand about the internet.
Is it because they're typing Google into their browser bar to navigate to Google?
Yes.
That's got to be a Google search optimization. I love it though.
But that's what we need to understand. Like, some people will not understand. Some people will like the lottery mining. Some people will like that their water heater gets their money back. Like, we need to understand that the way how we talk right now in here about Bitcoin, all the people out there, they don't care. They have their own problems. But the good thing is Bitcoin can help them, but we need to find a way how to talk to them to help them. And maybe at one point they will realize that it is Bitcoin or whatever. But people just buy a smartphone and they I don't know, download the McDonald's app and they order McDonald's. And if you ask them, what did you just do? He said, I ordered a burger. They don't say, oh, I used the TCP/IP layer 4 to talk to a web server on the other side. Like, no, but that's what we're doing right now, and that's okay. And I think that's like, FutureBit shows it. It is possible to have one device that you can buy, you can just plug it in, which is awesome. And we just need to talk what the people want to hear or what they can understand.
Yeah, and you have to think about what the second order effect of all this is. Let's get to a scenario where we have 100 million people doing this lottery mining. That means there's 200 exahash of Bitcoin hash rate being hashed by sovereign individuals running their own nodes in their house, and these blocks are being produced in a sovereign way that will completely change the Bitcoin network on how it is today, and it will cement decentralization and censorship resistance in the network. And that's the goal. That's my goal. That's where I want to get, and that's the mission for everybody. It should be the mission for everybody in this room. I know everybody is here for different reasons, and everybody has their own motivations. There's a lot of fiat money in the space, and you do need a lot of fiat money to get the hardware out. But we all have to get to a point where we make sure Bitcoin as a system, as a network, remains decentralized and censorship resistant.
So this is interesting because there's a debate about the nature of solo mining, and there are some strong opinions about template creation, and they get very technical very fast. And so what I'm hearing is that you have to not just wave the technology tinkerer wand, but you also, to some element, have to wave the education wand. You have to make sure people understand just enough of what they're doing, because there's still a risk. Everybody has a FutureBit, but it's all pointed to our Coinbase address, the Pod 256 Coinbase address. It's not really decentralization. If you have the magic wand, do you choose which wand do you wave first? Do you wave the education wand? Do you wave the technical innovation wand? Or is that the wrong question to even ask? Because what happens if we accidentally build a product that re-centralizes the network? All hash rate heaters point to the same pool. All hash rate heaters send 3% and bleed to Beijing. Which wand are you waving first? Or is that even the right question to be asking?
It is, and I mean, that's why we're going the path that we're going, where we're including a node in every device, because that...
Make it native.
Right. That means every single person that's mining is mining to their own node, and it's completely decentralized. That's exactly how Bitcoin, the network, was launched. Every single block was created on a single laptop for the first, 100,000 blocks. And as long as we continue that, where all devices are shipped with a full node and there's an option to solo mine to that node, I think we'll be in a good spot. But regardless, I mean, it's a good question, because let's say we ship 100 million of these. Like you said, they're all be hashing on the same block template. What should that block template be? Should I be the one deciding what that block template is? Should we offer that option to our users? Those are questions that all have to be answered, and once we get to that point, we'll have to answer those questions on how that happens.
And I don't know if it's true for everyone, but myself, I got into mining because it was a money printer. And I started mining before I really knew anything about mining. It was very much like Bitcoin. Number go up, and then you want to learn why. And that was the same with mining, was I knew it was making me money, but what what are all the mechanisms in play that make me money? So I think the education is very hard without the first hands-on prior to like your first touch. And I don't know, maybe other people study it a lot before they decide to spend $10,000 on an ASIC, but that wasn't the case for me.
It's a good question. I don't know what I would do first. On one side, there's something in me that tells, like, why do we even need to tell them what a node is? Like, yes, if somebody wants to know, but, like, do you know what every part of your car is? No. Like, you just go and you buy the car based on looks or based on brand or based on sound or whatever. So I think, but the problem is also right now of the technology that we have available, the fact that we can't buy the chips and build custom things, the fact that John had to figure out how to build these chips, learn of all of it, and to build a custom device is a massive inhibitor of the next step. And I think what we've heard from Block and other companies now pushing, and I really hope that this will also put immense pressure on the current Bitcoin miner producers, that they maybe also should sell the chips individually, because I think, at least for me, of what we're trying to do with heating houses, this is going to unlock the next revolution. And then we can still figure out, okay, are we going to put a node in, or what are we showing? And I do believe in the end we need not only miners, we also need Bitcoin nodes everywhere in every house, and it would be great if they create their own templates and things like that. But I think that's for me, a third or fourth level questions. First of all is, how do we actually get it in these people's houses?
That's right. You know, there's one thing that's really interesting about Bitcoin, which is that when it was launched, what did you need to run Bitcoin?
You downloaded one software. It was all together.
And
so there was a send Bitcoin and mine Bitcoin next to each other.
And what did the mega miners do? How did the mega miners get your blocks in 2010?
They were the mega miners.
It was this gradual. We had a decade of extrapolation from the protocol.
Yeah.
You had Slush coming out and generating pool mining with the introduction of dedicated hardware. You had folks in the custody space that were working and giving you your hardware wallet, getting your cold card, your Trezor, your ledger. And so people's first touch of Bitcoin, for me at least, I don't know what it was for you, it wasn't downloading Bitcoin Core. It was an experience of self-custody. But that was an incomplete vision of what Bitcoin was. And then you run a node and you go, oh, well, this is interesting. I have the blockchain on my node. And there was a product for it. And Start9 is a great company out of Colorado. I got my Start9, my node. And I set it up, and I thought, oh, this is great. Now I have my hardware device, my signing device, my wallet, and I have my node. I have the sovereign blockchain. And I was into mining, and I thought, oh, this is cool. It's like I understand Bitcoin now. And then I thought, you're an idiot. You could have just downloaded the software, and you would have been doing all these three things. So much to say it's this incredible opportunity that's happening only at the smallest levels, which is that for the first time, and this is through the BitX project, this is through FutureBit, this is through all the products that you're innovating on, people can touch the entirety of Bitcoin in their hand. And it's something that we got away from over the course of a decade. So the final question I want to ask you guys is, that's an exciting thing, so you're not allowed to say it. You are, because you run a company that makes them. What's going to blow our minds in the next 6 months, in the next year, for the people that are on the ground level, bringing the products to the people that they're asking for, or they don't know that they need yet? What is going to blow our minds in the next 6 to 12 months?
I think there will be devices coming out that a company or somebody builds, let's say, a water kettle or a hairdryer or something, and it just happens to have Bitcoin in it, a Bitcoin miner in it. And we're all going to look at this and it's like, how is this even possible? So I think there will be, with the unlock of these chips now coming, we're going to have a start of a lot of new products that don't look at all like a Bitcoin miner. Like, it will look completely different of something that we have never seen before. I don't know what it is. I don't know who is going to build it. But I think there will be just devices that, yeah, just looks like a regular device, and it has maybe a Wi-Fi connection.
Yeah. Excuse me. That's definitely my sentiment as well, is there's no reason that any device would have an electric heating element that isn't an ASIC chip. And I know that's kind of just been a meme going around about everybody's refrigerator is going to be mining Bitcoin, but in actuality, there is a lot of use cases for the heat as the product. And there's no reason why generating heat in your home should be anything other than an ASIC chip.
Yeah, I agree with all that. But obviously, that comes to making sure that the companies we've talked about open up access to chips, and I think that's going to happen this year. I think we've convinced a lot of people that it's important, and I think it's going to happen, and that's going to bring the innovation that we need for the space. Short term, though, I think what's going to be really cool, and I'm already having these discussions, is you're going to see a lot more solo blocks coming from small to medium-sized operations.
Love that prediction.
And you're going to see that unknown in mempool or block tags that you've never seen before start popping up. Can't really go into details, but we are announcing a product that's going to be enterprise focused for solo mining. Hopefully we'll have that out in the next 2 months or so. But we'll essentially allow any operation to have enterprise level hardware that they can spin up a node and solo mine in a few minutes.
Brilliant. Neil, give us a final thought, and then we're going to do some questions.
So 2 years ago, here, if we would have mined a block, it would have been, just for easy math, six Bitcoin, worth $25,000 a piece, $150,000 in cash to pay a dollar-denominated electric bill. 2 days ago, that same block only had 3 Bitcoin in it, but it was worth twice as much at $300,000. So half as much Bitcoin, but twice as much electric you can afford in the future. So keep on solo mining.
Hell yeah.
Let's get a round of applause for our panelists, please.